Hello, I'm Edward Current. Today, I wanted to give a special shout out to the American press for how they reported last week's big news story. I'm talking, of course, about the miracle on the Hudson. That is how almost every news outlet factually reported the emergency landing of that U.S. Airways jet. Now, before I go on, I want to look at the definition of miracle to make sure that we're all on the same page. This is the American Heritage Dictionary, which, given its name, I assume is the most correct one. I wasn't about to go checking the Oxford English Dictionary, and I certainly don't give a hoot what Webster says. Anyway, a miracle is an event that appears unexplainable by the laws of nature, and so is held to be supernatural in origin or an act of God. Well, duh. Anyone with half a brain can see that God was responsible for all of those people's lives being saved. To review the timeline of events, first, the plane took off. A miracle in itself that a man-made machine can defy the supposed laws of gravityism. Next, the plane ran into a random flock of geese. Now, I know what atheists out there are thinking. They're blaming God for putting the birds in the plane's path. But God doesn't control birds. What do you think he is? Some kind of giant bird puppet master or something? No. Those geese used their own free will to fly into the engines, disabling them. Okay? Actually, I suppose God could have put those birds there because he knew the newspapers would end up glorifying his greatness. It does kind of sound like something he'd do. Anyway, the veteran captain, who also happened to be a glider pilot, was divinely inspired to use his 40 years of experience to glide the plane onto the river. Okay, what about that event is explainable? Nothing. It's totally a miracle of God. This time, the press really got it right. Now, here's where I have a beef. It seems like only when really good things like this happen do people bring God into the story. But we should be glorifying him all the time, even with the sad stories. The thing is, there isn't a good short headline word to describe otherwise unexplainable acts of God that aren't so nice. But I'm here to introduce one. Tragical. You see, just because the Lord works in mysterious ways sometimes, that doesn't mean he isn't always hard at work. I just think it's irresponsible for the press and Christians in general to cut God out of the picture when things don't go the way they'd like. I mean, think of all the tragicals involving airplanes alone. Hundreds of them. Just as every miracle proves that the Lord helps us because he loves us, every tragical proves that he works in ways we could never understand. That's all for now. Good night, and God bless America.